Very Good Music, a VGM podcast, is now proudly associated with RPGera.com, where you can find reviews, videos, podcasts, and more covering all your pop culture needs. Brian, the founder and CEO of RPG Era, has been featured on the show before and also hosts his own VGM podcast, VG Mania, with his friend Frank. Are you a fan of wrestling? Check out Blood and Destroyers, a podcast all about AEW. Into general gaming news and commentary? Max Level is the podcast for you. Looking to commiserate about the darker side of pop culture? Join Frank on Terrible, a horrible, no good, very bad podcast. Finally, The Media Files, hosted by Kyle, is your one-stop shop for all of your pop culture needs. Check out all of RPG Era's offerings using the link in the show notes. Now, let's listen to some very good music. Greetings, gamers. I'm Bedroth.
I'm Shootkapow.
And you're... Yeah, there's no guest this time.
Yeah.
It's just the two of us, and we're going to be talking about the very best music that we played this year.
VGM podcast.
That we played this year on Very Good Music.
A VGM podcast.
And you were just
with
so
eager. Very in-character intro.
Yes, you were just so eager to get into it.
And the microphone's over there.
And yeah, so that's okay. It's picking you up. So that first song that we played is my first of 10 picks of the night because Shootkapow, I kind of already just did, but tell us a little about what we're going to be talking about today.
Very good, very, very good music.
Yes, very, very good music, or as Prof. Jeff termed it, the very best music that we played on the show this year. And so we each picked 10 tracks that we're going to feature. Well, just like last year, a couple of caveats. These are not our top 10 ranked in order or anything like that. They're just 10 tracks that we really, really loved. If we were to do this show again in a month or even a week, it might be slightly different tracks, and a lot of this is just up to personal preference, and a lot of it with me is also, it has to do with style. I could have gone with all fast-paced or hard rockin' tracks, but I wanted to mix it up a little bit. I also didn't want to pull almost exclusively from the same episode, so that might have been a deciding factor in two tracks that I wanted each of them to be on the list, but one of them I already had one from that episode. So anyway, take it with a grain of salt. It's not objective best, but just our favorites. So before we get into it though, Shootkapow, why don't you talk a little bit about what are some things that you really enjoyed that happened on the podcast this year?
We talked to Brenofloss.
That was kind of a high point, wasn't it? I also really enjoyed the conversations that I had with some of my podcast friends, Brian from BG Mania and Lee from The Sound Test. We had Dusk and Jeff on a couple of times this year.
Yeah. We played a Geometry Dash track.
We did play a Geometry Dash track. I was thinking about that because you and Dusk just got smartphones for Christmas, and she's been playing a lot of Geometry Dash. So, well, we're not going to be talking too terribly much tonight because we really want to let the music speak for itself, and also because we're going to be playing 21 tracks, and so there's a Yeah, there's going to be a lot of music. So before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and lead in with a track that was recommended by one of our patrons. I was not a very good host, and I gave everybody less than 24 hours notice to pick a song that they really liked, because I didn't tell them until today that we were going to be recording this. So the only one who's had time to recommend anything is Skeletroy. And so we're going to go and play his pick here in just a minute. But if anybody does happen to drop anything during our conversation, I'll go ahead and load it in, and we'll just play it then. But Skeletroy had this to say. After perusing the track list for most of this year's episodes, my pick is Top Gear's Track 1, or Las Vegas, from episode 3-8. Which was our grab bag episode. That one was really fun. There's a lot of good music in that one. A great game with an amazing soundtrack. My friends and I played Top Gear a lot back in the day. This is Skeletroy again. The musical influence must have somewhat rubbed off on me, as whenever my mom hears SNES thrash tunes, she always says they sound like that racing game. Congrats on another year of very good music. Here's hoping there's many more to come. And thank you very much, Troy. I actually meant to play the winter version of our intro theme that he made under our Koji Kondo, well, non-Koji Kondo winter announcement on Christmas Day, and I forgot. So we'll just have to use that as the intro when we record our Winter Tunes episode in February.
I've got some tracks that I just put pretty high on my list that I think you very, very probably brought. So
I've actually got a couple that I moved from my list because I was pretty sure that you brought them, so we'll have to see. There's still a couple on my list that you very well may have picked. Did you pick anything from episodes that you weren't on?
Yeah, I picked... Sure I did.
You know what? We can talk about it more when we come back and as we go through the show. But for now, let's go ahead and listen to Troy's pick. This is, once again, Track 1, or Las Vegas, from Top Gear. And I forgot to mention the play-in track. We should talk about that a little bit before we get into this. What was that play-in track, Shootkapow?
That was Studiopolis Zone Act 1 from Sonic Mania.
Yes, that was composed by Lopes, one of the original tunes for Sonic Mania. And man, I just love that so much. And I couldn't resist opening up with Lights, Camera, Action.
Yeah.
It's just, it was perfect.
There's an old arrangement of it, actually, by Insane in the Rain and 8-Bit Drummer.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Is that the one that you said you watched one that, like a YouTuber that used this as the outro?
No. It was a Minecraft YouTuber.
Oh, okay, and he just used the original tune?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, we'll have to listen to that. Maybe you have already been listening to that arrangement Shootkapow is talking about as the under music from all of this introduction.
Hopefully.
But now we're going to listen to Top Gear Track 1, Las Vegas, composed by Barry Leitch. And that was Skeletroy's pick, Las Vegas from Top Gear. Oh man, this was actually on my list, so now I get to go to one of my alternates. And you said that, you told me while we were listening that Studiopolis was on your list, so you get to go to one of your alternates.
Yep.
Last year, I don't think we actually had any overlap last year, so we're already starting this one off more interestingly.
Yeah.
Overall, well, first of all, Top Gear, Las Vegas, what did you think of that track?
That was really good. It actually reminded me of the title theme of Bad Piggies, an Angry Birds like spin-off thing.
Maybe you should keep that one in mind for our inevitable Rivals, Rogues, and Frenemies Part 3.
Yeah.
Because there are some times when the piggies actually work together with the birds, at least in other media, so...
Yeah.
But this was really good. Obviously, if this was on my list, I like it a lot. Overall, in general, how do you feel like this year stacks up to last year?
I feel like there's definitely a lot of good stuff. We played Mega Man 3 title theme again, so spoiler alert.
Yeah, that's really good. And Brett's actually, on his episode with us, brought several really, really classic tracks that we hadn't played on the show before.
Yeah.
We'd never played the Moon theme. We'd never played the ending of Super Mario World or A Link to the Past. There was some and Strike the Earth from Shovel Knight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of really, really good stuff that we just had never gotten around to. And a lot of that's because these things are so classic that I just know people have already heard them, and I'd rather give airtime to something new, but that didn't stop us from playing Guile's theme on bonus episode 2 last year, so.
Yeah.
I actually kind of stayed away from a lot of the really classic stuff. I did not put either of those ending themes on my list. Again, kind of because I want to mix things up. And a lot of this also, my picks, I picked tracks that made me feel not necessarily like nostalgic, because Link to the Past just does that to me in general, but when I remembered hearing them for the first time this year, I picked tracks that really impressed me when I heard them. And so there were some tracks that, like, this year when I heard them for the first time, I was like, whoa! More so than when I heard the Link to the Past ending credits for, like, the 100th time, even though I absolutely adore that song. So that's why, for example, my next pick that we'll get to after yours made it, and Link to the Past didn't. But yeah, this was a good year. I don't know if there's anything that quite reaches the heights of Sparkling Scorpio or Jago's theme, but there's definitely some really good stuff, and you know what? Maybe so. Maybe I'll be surprised. Speaking of surprises, what is your first pick going to be, Shootkapow?
I'm going to lead with...
So for you, are these actually like ranked in order for you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Where was Studiopolis on your list?
Number 8. I should probably rank them.
Okay. Where do you think it would have been?
Just
ballpark.
Top 5, maybe top 3.
Okay, cool. Well, what's your number 10?
My number 10 is actually Newer York.
You know what? I had that on my list of alternates.
Oh man.
We'll talk a little bit about when I come back about why this didn't end up in my top 20, but it was really, really close. It was in my top 25. So, okay, well, cool. Yeah, we're going to listen to Newer York from the still in early development game Aura, composed by our very own Shootkapow.
All right. That was New York from the unreleased game Aura, the Protectors of Time.
Very, very, very debating. Very cool. And yeah, like I said, this didn't quite make my list. I've listened to this several times since our episode because it's still my favorite thing pretty much that you've ever done. I think to a lesser extent, it suffers a little bit from the same thing that my track, Thunder Elemental, suffers from, in that I don't know if it feels like there's like a section that's not in this track that you might need to add like a B section or something to give it a little more variety. I was actually listening to it today as I was narrowing down my list. This feels like it would be the equivalent of like a Skyrunner theme. It almost feels like maybe the music that would play while you're going back into the future, like while you're time traveling.
Well, yeah, it is a track that it's in the future, so...
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking of it more almost like a four-side type setting, but it feels more like a traveling theme, like the Epoch or the Skyrunner.
I did model it after Cyber City from Deltarune.
Okay.
Well, more after a Cyber's World.
So, what is it about this track that you think you like so much? You deserve to be proud of this track. So, why are you proud of it?
I like the instrumentation a lot. It definitely feels like a really. The saxophone is good. The trumpet's great. It feel better with like a better quality trumpet. I feel like.
Yeah, it would definitely benefit from real instruments. We'll have to work on that, but I really think you nailed the feel that you're going for with this one. So very cool stuff. Well, let's go ahead and get to my next track. I kind of teased it a second ago. This one, I'm not going in any particular order, but I kind of like that you are, to add some variety. But this one definitely has to make my list tonight. It is one of our very favorite things that I discovered this year. And I haven't been doing this, but our play-in, Studiopolis, is from episode 3-1, which was level 3. That one was really fun and really, really interesting to research. At one point I had like a whole just crap ton of Sonic tracks. This is the one that survived all of them. So Top Gear, as I mentioned, is from 3-8, and of course New York is from bonus episode 9, our compositions. This next one is also from the level 3 episode, and man, I love it. It's kind of long, and I'm going to let the whole thing play. I just love the instrumentation in this and all the different places where it goes. This track was originally from Touhou 13, The 10 Desires, and it was reused in the Touhou fan game IKUSAAAAAAAN. This was composed originally by Zune and arranged for IKUSAAAAAAAN by Eru. And Eru titled this track, Let's Live in a Lovely Cemetery. right, that was Let's Live in a Lovely Cemetery from IKUSAAAAAAAN. That was from episode 3-1, all about level 3. Yeah, what'd you think of that, Shootkapow?
That was very good music.
You asked why I thought you would recognize that. That flute in the opening is just, and that riff, the do 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 do. It's just such a memorable melody to me. Like, I don't know, I couldn't get this song out of my head all year. It just kept coming back, which is the main reason that it's on the show tonight. So, I don't know, I guess I just thought it would stick with you. Apparently not as much, but glad you still enjoyed it. I just love that guitar solo toward the end. Oh, it's just so good. I'm a sucker for guitar solos, because that's why I put Sparkling Scorpio, or why I love Sparkling Scorpio so much last year. I think you actually picked it, but oh man,
I love that one.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. That's still, I think so far, that's still my track of the show, my favorite one that we've found, just in the course of doing this. So good, so good. Well, what is your number 9, Shootkapow? I'm guessing, since you didn't recognize that it wasn't on your list.
Yeah. What the heck? Why didn't that stand well?
Did your list disappear?
No, I rearranged it a little bit and it reset somehow, but not in the, not in this, I guess. Alright, so, let's see. My number 9 is from a game I did not expect to have such good music, and that I didn't expect to, I don't know, it's such an unexpected game. This is Polargeist from Geometry Dash. Alright, and that was Polargeist from Geometry Dash.
And if it's not apparent so far, we're not going to be saying all the stuff about each track. It'll be in the show notes, and we already said it this year, so...
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I was also surprised by this when you brought it. Way back, once again, in episode 3-1. We apparently started the season 3 really strong, because this is our third from that episode so far. Yeah, what do you think it is about this track that landed it at number 9 on your list?
I feel like Geometry Dash... Okay, so I started playing Geometry Dash a little while back, a few days ago, when I got my phone for Christmas and downloaded it, because, it's a fun game. What I did not expect was that I am actually, weirdly good at Geometry Dash. I'm on level, 6 now? It's only been, 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I'm not great at it. I played it on Dusk's phone. Anybody who doesn't know, it is free. You can try it out.
Geometry Dash White's free. The full game costs money, but I don't really know the difference yet.
So it's an endless runner type game, and you tap the screen to make your little block guy jump, or in the second part of each area to make it go up, because you're kind of flying like horizontally, like a horizontal shooter with no shooting. And basically you're just trying to avoid walls and spikes. But it's really fun. It's a cool little game, and this is a cool little track. Very nice. All right, well, let us keep moving. We're going to go to another platforming game, although not an endless runner. And this one I've never played before, but I think I would enjoy it because I enjoy the property that it is based on. I played this on maybe my favorite episode that you weren't on of this whole year, because I recorded it at Prof. Jeff's apartment. And it was a lot of fun. This was the episode about superhero video games. And it also happens to have been composed by one of my favorite composers, Jay Kaufman, who definitely deserves a spot on any end-of-year list in a year in which he's played. This is the boss music for the Gorilla Grodd boss fight from Batman, the Brave and the Bold, the video game. That was the Gorilla Grodd boss fight from Batman, the Brave and the Bold, the video game. Yeah, this one's so good.
Yep.
You're actually one of the reasons that I included this on the list when I went to visit Prof. Jeff. I played several different tracks for you, and you agreed that this one definitely deserved a spot on the playlist.
Yep.
And then you said you also remember that I played this for you one time when I was taking you to work at Subway.
Yep.
Yeah. Man, that was a long and fruitful work experience, wasn't it?
Very, very. Not like I'm about to start YouTube soon.
And it's been a crazy year. Not a bad one, all in all, but definitely crazy. Lots of ups and downs. Speaking of ups and downs, since we last recorded, we also went to Six Flags.
Oh, yeah.
And you had a couple of firsts. You rode the Texas Giant for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And you thought that was really cool. You used a word that I'm not going to let you use on the podcast. And you also rode the Shockwave, which was your first roller coaster with loops. Well, besides the Batman, but that's different.
Yeah.
Hey, the Batman, I just brought it back, full circle. But you know what? If you were having a rough year, because 2021 was rough on a lot of people, Batman the Brave and the Bold is a show that I think it'll definitely give you a little bit of joy. It's just a very, very chill show compared to other Batman shows. It's got a little bit of that old school Batman humor injected into it from before he got all grim and gritty and dark in the 90s. And it's just it's a really fun show. It's a team up show, and Grodd is actually usually a Flash villain, But in this show, everyone kind of becomes Batman's villain because Batman teams up with everyone. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so if you have HBO Max or happen to have some old DVDs, go check it out. Throw it on. I specifically recommend the Music Meister episode, which I talked about on that episode with Prof. Jeff back in the day. But, Shootkapow, I believe this brings us to your number 8.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are we going to be listening to next?
I'm actually kind of surprised myself that I put this so low on the list, but I've got so much good stuff coming up. This is number 8, ending theme from Super Mario World. And that was the ending theme from Super Mario World.
Yeah, we played that one way back on episode 4-12 with Brentalfloss.
Yep.
Just a little less than 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, I guess. No, 2 weeks as we record this.
Yeah.
Because that was released the week before Christmas, even though we recorded it back in November.
Wow.
That was such a fun conversation. I remember from editing it that you didn't say very much at all, but...
As usual.
Yeah. But you enjoyed it?
Yep.
How many times do you think during the episode did you think to yourself, I'm actually on a live call with Brentalfloss and listening to him talk to me right now?
I mean, it usually when I do that stuff, it isn't that surreal for me for some reason. I don't know. It's weird.
Do you remember anything about the episode?
I remember him talking about the Mario Sunshine theme.
Mm-hmm.
What he did with it. I remember him talking about the sexist Tetris one.
Yeah, the unfortunate video that put him on the map.
Yeah.
But Brent was just such a delight to have, and Brent, if you're listening now, thank you again for coming on the show. That was a lot of fun. I had a couple of tracks from that one on my short list. Actually, one of Brent's own compositions, the one from
Default Dan.
Yeah, the ending credits theme from Default Dan.
Yeah, I had that one on my list too, but I took it off because everything else is so good.
It was really close. So Brent definitely is a talent in and of himself. So Brent definitely has a lot of talent, and I mean, obviously, I have a lot of respect for him. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked him on the show. So
yeah.
Cool. Well, we've gone from one of our earliest episodes of the year to our most recent episode. And now I have to decide where we're going to go next. And I think... Yeah, I'm going to kind of switch gears. And I've been playing a lot of sort of upbeat or bombastic tracks. I'm going to go to something a little slower and a little more melancholy. This one was really special. The episode that I did with my buddy Lee from the Sound Test was about the famous Commodore 64 composer Ben Daglish, who we tragically lost shortly. In 2020, and it was shortly after Lee actually interviewed him for his podcast. And anybody who hasn't gone back and listened to Lee's episode, definitely do so. You can find a link to it in the show notes for the episode Lee was on with me. And Ben Daglish had a really, really interesting style, did a lot with the C64 chip, but this is actually from a live performance that he did at Underworld 2016, and he played flute on a public performance of his composition for the load screen music from the Commodore 64 game Wastelands. Alright, once again, that was the Loader theme from Wastelands, performed by Ben Daglish with backing by the Fast Loaders at Underworld 2016. And Ben is playing some sort of recorder or Irish whistle in this song, and I absolutely adore that instrument. I associate it with both Irish or Celtic music and also Japanese music, and there's just something about the sound of it. It's always sad, but it's sad in almost like a celebratory way. It's really weird, but I love that. And what did you think of that song, Shootkapow?
That was very good music.
Have you heard this one before? Because you weren't on this episode.
No, I don't think I have.
Yeah. So, any thoughts about it, like sound of it, the composition, the instrument?
Not really anything that you haven't already said. It does feel very Irish, very Japanese too.
He was in the midst of his chemotherapy treatment when he recorded or when he performed this, and if you watch the video, you can just see the emotion, and he just pours his whole heart into this performance, and it's really touching. I'm proud to be able to include this, and obviously it made an impact on me. So, Lee, if you're listening, thank you so much for bringing this track and this amazing man to my attention, and for cheering him with us on the episode that you joined us on. We'll have to have you back sometime in 2022. But yeah, Shootkapow, I believe this brings us to your next track. What are we on this time? This is number 7?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm going to be playing a very, I guess, just really, really good track. Is all I really know to describe this. This is Mechanical Rhythm from Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. And that was Mechanical Rhythm from Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition.
And at first I thought this was from episode 3-2 or 3-3, our 2 parts feature on RPG battle themes, but no, this one is from episode 3-8 because you brought it to the grab bag episode. And this was before you had even... Well, you still haven't heard this song in game, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think I had heard it by this time, but did you just come across this listening to the soundtrack, you think? Or had you heard it while I was playing?
I think you played it for me. I don't think I heard it while you were playing.
Oh, but I specifically played it for you, and so you wanted to. This is so good. It's the best battle theme in the game, and that's saying really a lot because there are some really, really great battle themes.
Yeah.
I almost brought...
Oh, it's also in Smash.
Oh yeah, it is. It is, okay. That makes more sense too. This one was on my list. I don't know if it would have ended up playing tonight because I have a list of 20. I had both of us make lists of 20 just in case we happen to pick all 10 of the other person's tracks, which is unlikely, but you know, it's there. But I'm kind of going through my list of 20 and deciding which ones I want to play. So, like, the final narrowing down is happening live. And this one was on my list, so that helps me narrow it down. I did have Colony 9 on my list as well.
Yeah, me too.
But
I replaced it with Polargeist.
In the end, I bumped it because I included this one. I didn't want to have 2 songs from the same game unless I thought they really, really, really deserved it. And they came close. Colony 9 is amazing, but I think I also have another Yoko track on the list that I might play, and so, yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But, man, this is such a great tune, and it happens in such a great area of the game. Oh, I love this game so much. I still need to go back and finish the epilogue. But where to go from here? Oh yeah, a little update. You finally got past the Zord fight.
Yes, I did.
You hadn't gotten past it last time we talked. How'd you end up doing it this time?
I used easy mode for that one specific battle.
Yeah.
And the rematch where he doesn't spawn a bunch of them and you can actually hit him because he... Spoiler alert. Yeah. Alright. So now that everyone who doesn't want spoilers, skip this part. Yeah, he fell into an ether river. Wasn't he pushed into it by Mr. Old Man Guy, and then Ryan saved Mr. Old Man Guy?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, he survives that, and he gets on the elevator to the surface you're riding. And so yeah, he tries to beat you up, and he fails miserably. So then he gives you exposition and then falls off the lift.
Yeah, and you find out that apparently he was human once.
What?
Isn't that in the exposition?
Maybe. I might have missed it. I think he hinted at it.
Well, if you go back to Colony 9 and you talk to the people there, one of them talks about her father, who was a blacksmith and always carried this huge hammer.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, that's such a good game. This next track that we're going to be listening to is from a pretty fun game. It's not nearly as good as Xenoblade, but man, the track is an absolute banger, and it's from an episode that was really hard for me to narrow down. This was the episode about Naoki Kodaka that we recorded with Skeletroid. And let me see, if you had to guess one of the games that we featured on that episode, what game do you think I'm going to be picking a track from today? You remember any of those games?
No.
So there's Blaster Master, Batman, Buster's Quest, Journey to Silius, Gremlins 2.
Batman.
That was a really good one. Streets of Desolation is the only one that we've played twice.
Yeah.
But I am going to feature... It was really hard, and if we had played a different Journey to Silius track, then I might have gone for it. We played level 3, which is really, really good, because the whole soundtrack Journey to Silius is good. Yeah. But instead, I ended up going with a track that I gained a new appreciation for during our conversation. And man, that was one of my favorite chats this whole year. Skeletroy also just really, really loves Naoki Kodaka, and so it was just great. And it was a lot of fun sharing that with you, because I feel like if you paid attention, you could have learned a lot about the NES and like implementation and about how the composition worked. And it's one that might bear going back and listening to. We're going to be hearing the Office theme from Gremlins 2.
Oh, yeah.
The new batch.
Yeah, I remember this one.
That was the Office theme, or Clamp Enterprises, from Gremlins 2 for the NES. And I love this so much, and what excellent use of the NES's sound channels. Like, this does not sound like something with only 5 parts. It's really complex, and really, really cool, and really, dark and mysterious, but also somehow manages to be fun. What do you think of this one?
It's really surprising how they managed to reference a show from like 10 or 15 years in the future in Gremlins 2. Really impressive.
What do you mean?
The Office. It's so funny.
You're so funny. What do you think about the music, besides that it's very good, obviously?
Yeah, it's I like the little doo-doo-doo-doo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the music in this game just really matches the whole feel of Gremlins as kind of this creepy but also fun and funny set of movies. And we still haven't watched it. We should. It is Christmas time. Gremlins is a Christmas movie, so I guess actually it's just a movie that happens at Christmas. But we're not going to get into that debate because Christmas is over.
Yeah,
it's New Year's.
Yeah.
So I guess we better hurry this up if we're going to finish by midnight. So, all right. Well, what is your track number 6, Shootkapow?
The 6th one is actually one I didn't really expect to be bringing to this list, but it was just so good that, I just kind of had to. So this is Activate Burning Phase from Inazuma 11. that was Activate Burning Phase from Inazuma 11. Yasunori Mitsuda. Oh man. It's such a good track because like just the melody and the instrumentation, like those strengths in like the B section, the do 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 do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it goes up and it's the long notes and it's so good.
I can't believe that this is music from a DS.
Oh my god.
Like, what Mitsuda was able to get out of the hardware is really impressive. I'm really glad you brought a Mitsuda theme. For whatever reason, that episode hasn't been as popular as a lot of our other episodes this season, but I really think everybody should go back and listen to it. It was a really, really good one. Fitting way to open up our composer showcase from this fall, because Mitsuda is just one of both of our favorite composers. I think it's safe to say he's in both of our top 3. So, really good stuff. And yeah, this one was an unexpected find for me, but I really enjoyed it. I have a Mitsuda track that I'm not sure I'm going to get to, so we'll wait until the honorable mentions, and just in case I do end up playing it. It's a real classic, not kind of a dark horse like this one, but really good stuff. And yeah, great choice. I think that I'm going to... It's so hard. Keep narrowing it down. Okay. I'm just going to make a decision because I've got 2 tracks here by another one of my favorite composers. And I think I'm going to go with this one.
Okay.
Because it's a different style than pretty much anything else we've played. And I really love all the music from this series, and I discovered it because of the episode I did with Brian from Bijou Mania about Yuzo Koshiro. So we are going to listen to a song from Maximum Tune, which is I believe a Bandai Namco racing game series.
Yo, Namco.
And this track is called Driver's Delight. That was Driver's Delight from Wangan Midnight Maximum Tune, composed by the inimitable Yuzo Koshiro, who follows us on Twitter now.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That's the thing that happened in 2021.
Also, might I add that Sunsoft added, Sunsoft liked a tweet that Skeletor made saying, hey, if you
guys redo Journey to Silius, let me do the soundtrack. Yeah, that's so cool. Oh man, how awesome would it be? For Troy, of course, but how awesome would it be if our theme song was on that Journey to Silius remake? Man. Troy, I hope it works out, man. That would be so awesome. Speaking of awesome, what did you think of this track? Because you weren't on this episode. Yeah, this was a really cool track. It had a really nice loop. Yeah, and this genre is, I believe you would call this Eurodance, or Eurobeat, rather. And we talked on that episode about how Koshiro got into Eurobeats, and a couple of his, he's got some different tracks that are like this. I almost went with one from a game called Misty Blue, but this one just sounded a little bit better overall. And it's amazing how many different genres Koshiro is good at, like a lot of the other ones we focused on. Shimomura and Mitsuda and Kirk Hope, they really are able to move around in different areas and be really great. So, speaking of really great, let's get on with this very best of 2021. Yeah. What is your number 5? Number 5. As we officially pass the halfway mark. Yep. This is probably going to be a pretty long episode. Wow. Alright, for number 5, I have a track that we played back in, what was it? The cat episode. Season... Oh yeah, that was 3-5. 3-5. That's why. I have Mount Magmeow from Bowser's Fury. Was Mount Magmeow theme from Bowser's Fury. Man, trombone section. Especially that lead trombone player. Wow. This is a really good track. I don't know if I've gotten to this area yet. I recently started playing this game. I 100% of this game, actually. It's pretty short, maybe like 4 hours. Yeah, it's fun. I was going a little slower because the littles were watching me, and so I was letting them pick like where I went. But this is really cool. This was your sole contribution to this episode.
Yep.
And there were quite a few of these tracks from 3-5 that were on my short list. Theo from Bright Paw was on my list. Another J. Kaufman track, The Legend of K, Hair Tree, was on this playlist. Just some really good stuff. There was some Kyato Ninden Tianda, or Samurai Pizza Cats. And there was a Battle Cats and Power Pro Baseball collaboration track. And anything from the Power Pro series is just friggin' fantastic. One kind of a dark horse that almost made it was the Mystic theme from Cattails.
Oh, yeah.
Which, that one and the Love theme, or the Nostalgia theme rather, and then the Love theme, which we played on our Love bonus episode. All three of those are really good. Cattails has some really nice music in it.
Yeah, so does Catlandia. I cut Popperant Nice, but it was on my list at one point.
Interesting. But yeah, this one, really good stuff. I mean, it's Mario. Like, Mario's on your playlist, specifically Twice Tonights, and it's hard to go wrong with Mario music.
I think this one was Nagamatsu, but I'm not sure. Composer / arranger. Just list all the ones for the game.
Yeah, that's all I have on the track list too. But, time will tell, I suppose. But, man, good stuff. Speaking of Mario composers, I don't think I told you yet, but since we didn't get to do an Uematsu episode for Christmas, I think I'm just going to do an Uematsu showcase at some point next season. And we'll just play a bunch of Uematsu tracks. And let me see, some other stuff we got coming up. I was thinking for, to lead in Season 5, we would finally do Part 2 of the Five Finger Fanfare. Thought that might be a cool first episode of the season.
Yeah, I've been saving up the tracks.
And then, of course, we'll have our Winter Tracks episode, which we didn't play a full-on winter episode because we were focusing on composers this season. But we'll do one while it's still winter. And we also have a crossover coming up that you weren't aware of because I just finalized it the last couple of weeks. There's a podcast I'm going to plug real quick called The Literate Pixel, where these two friends that actually one of whom was part of the VGM podcast community and has been for a while, originally back with the VGM Jukebox. But The Literate Pixel is a podcast about books based on video games. And it's a really cool show. I'm actually going to be on it talking about the first game in a series of novels based on Doom, like the old Doom.
Oh, wow. The one that takes place in 2022.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
And then we're going, oh, yeah, that's interesting. We should totally talk about that if I remember. And then
do a Doom showcase.
And then the guys from Literate Pixel are going to be joining us to talk about some music from some of the games that they have talked about books based on. So that's going to be fun. I think that might be our January bonus episode if I can get it out in time. But right now, we are here to talk about the best of 2021. And my next track of the playlist is actually from Catlandia, Crisis at Fort Flopperant, which is from our first composer showcase this year, which wasn't even in our composer season, when we talked to Ryan Steele, who composed the game. And I'm going to be bringing a track. It was really hard. What was the one that you said was on your list? And then you bumped
Catlandia?
it? Yeah.
Popperant Nights.
Popperant Nights. For me, it was between Bites and Scratches and the track that we're going to be playing, which is A Spark in the Air.
Oh, yeah.
That was A Spark in the Air from Catlandia, Crisis at Fort Paw Prints, composed by Ryan Steele, and featured in the episode where we interviewed Ryan about this game. You played this game for a little bit, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Played like the intro section.
It's fun. It's still on the computer. It's a nice little RPG. Harder than it looks at first. But man, this soundtrack was a lot of fun. I mean, obviously you had 3 tracks on your list that were eventually bumped, and this one made it onto my playlist, mostly because you mentioned it and it was in my top 20. So, but this was cool stuff, and this whole soundtrack is really a lot of fun, but I would definitely encourage everybody to go back and listen to the tracks that Ryan chose to feature for the episode. It was really good stuff. Anything in particular that you remember about the game or the soundtrack you want to talk about before we move on?
I do like the animation style of the game. It's sort of like Bug Fables, except not really paper centric.
But yeah, it's got that
like arts, doesn't have the same art and craft feel. It's sort of cartoony.
Yeah, cartoony, like simple 2D drawing, but really emotive and really cool. Yeah, I encourage everybody to go check out the game and the soundtrack. You can purchase them both online, and if you buy the soundtrack from Bandcamp, Ryan gets more of the money, so go do that. All right, well, we're coming.
You know how you can give us money? You can go support us on Patreon.
Yeah, patreon.com/VGMVGM, that's right. Good plug, Shootkapow. I've trained you well. All right.
I'm a YouTuber in training.
As we get deeper into the back half, I believe we're moving on now. Are we in your top 3 at this point?
Top 4.
Top 4, okay. What is your number 4?
Alright. So I've got a pretty classic track here. This is, spoiler. We have title theme from Mega Man 3. That was, of course, the Mega Man 3 title theme, and it's just good.
You know, when I said that Brent brought some really classic tracks that we hadn't featured before, and then this one that we have featured before, yeah, it's I wasn't expecting you to pull quite so many. I guess 2, but some really good stuff. Gotta say, and this is now the 3rd time that this track has been featured on the show, because I don't think that you brought it last year to the end of year. Also, yes, as you were just alluding, one of Brent's best with lyrics. Alright, if you are in Japan,
also known as Rockman,
a Mega Buster can cut the mustard. I am flustered as you see. Pow pow.
We grow up bosses and make levels. We're running around in the I'll steal their weaponry.
Okay, now. Oh man, so good.
Mega Man.
Mega Man indeed. And yeah, earlier you mentioned, what did you mention that made me think of this? I don't know what we were talking about. You referenced something that made me, I don't know. There was something that happened earlier that made me think of this track, and now I think I'm going to go ahead and play it, because I think it matches up pretty well with Mega Man 3. Now, there is a chance you've got this on your list, but not as much of a chance as maybe one or another of the tracks that are coming. So, but if we don't get to those, there's always honorable mention. I'm going to be moving on to a track by Toby Fox and Lena Raine, and also Marcy Neighbors. And we featured this in our track about 3 young and up-and-coming composers, Lena Raine, Toby Fox, and also Bug Fables guy. What's his name?
Tristan Ulrich.
Yeah, Tristan Ulrich. And this one really, really stuck out to me. This is from, of course, Deltarune Chapter 2, and we're going to be listening to Attack of the Killer Queen. That was Attack of the Killer Queen from Deltarune Chapter 2.
Indeed it was. Man, if I had remembered we played this, it would totally be on my top 10.
So, did you not go back to the Toby and Lena and Tristan episode?
I did, but I don't think I saw it. I saw Hip Shop and Cyber's World. Oh, that's why. I only wanted to bring 2 from each game on each episode.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, so you just stopped after that. Wow. Okay, alright. So, well, we still have 3 more tracks. I guess we'll find out if there's any more Deltarune to be had, but let's just go ahead and, well, you know what? No, I want to stop real quick. This was a really cool episode, and, man, Toby Fox. Just Toby Fox.
Just Toby Fox.
Such a great composer. Lena Raine as well, as we heard on this episode, and it was really cool, the story that she basically helped Toby finish this soundtrack because he was having so much trouble with his hands during the composition of it, and so just a really cool collaboration, and I think you hear some of her signature synthiness on top of Toby's just masterful composition in this soundtrack. And good stuff. Very good stuff. Very good music. Because everything we play is what, Shootkapow?
Very good music.
That one was a little heavy-handed, but that's okay. So, now we are in your top 3. What is your 3rd favorite track, as of tonight, from this year?
This is actually from a game that we haven't played from in a while, actually. I'm very surprised by it, because I absolutely adore this game. I am usually not one for, long RPGs, but this series and, Final Fantasy Like, man. The game I'm talking about is Tales of Symphonia.
Man, you're going all the way back to like early season 3 on this one.
Yep, Loitering for Smash.
Loitering for Smash, indeed. Go follow Shootkapow, support.
Yes, on flat.io. Loitering for Smash, which I will not change ever, apparently.
And let me see, I believe it was this year in either 3-2 or 3-3 that we played Fatalize? Is that what we're going to be listening to?
Yes, it is. That was Fatalize from Tales of Symphonia. And I really hope that when Lloyd gets into Smash 6, he's going to be base roster in Smash 6. I'm calling it right now. Feel free to quote me on that because it's going to happen. And I really hope that Fatalize is included with the Tales music.
It would be really weird for it not to be. Yeah. Especially if Lloyd is the Tails character that's brought over, which
I mean, it does play only like 3 times in the whole game, but like it's still really good.
Yep. I mean, an obstacle in our path is in Shulk's music, so and it doesn't play as often as some of the other ones, so. But it's good stuff, man. Otoi Sakuraba definitely knows his business. I'm kind of surprised that we didn't end up doing a Sakuraba episode, but I don't know. Maybe next time. And this is really good, though. And that 5-finger fanfare at the beginning, of course, really good. Yeah. On the record, I'm forbidding you to play that on 5-finger fanfare part 2 because it's happening very soon. Like within a month and a half.
Spoiler?
So, yeah, sorry. But it's okay. I think we have more than enough to have a part 3 and probably a part 4. So, speaking of 5-finger fanfare, quick shout out. The Super Marcano Bros are fast approaching their 500th episode.
Super Marcano Bros are fast approaching. Run.
They're fast approaching their 500th episode. 500. Shootkapow. They've been doing this for 10 years. They've been doing this show since Will was your age.
So many 10-year anniversaries in the past 2 years.
But this is the only one that I know of for a podcast. So, yeah, really good stuff. And maybe I'll dedicate the 5-finger fanfare part 2 to them because they're going to be taking a bit of a break after episode 500. I think they've earned it. They're just about the most regular podcast that, especially in the VGM scene. right up there with Rhythm and Pixels, who recently celebrated their 300th episode. They've been doing this for a while too.
Oh, wow.
So, you think we're going to make it to 300 or 500?
Probably 300, maybe 400.
I guess we'll have to see. We're going to be coming up on our 100th sometime in 2022. We'll have to plan something for that. But what I'm planning next is...
How many tracks we've played?
Oof. I don't know. But right now I'm looking at 5 tracks, and I only get to play 2 of them, and I don't know how I'm going to pick.
Man.
Okay.
To be you.
I gotta ask, do you have Together with Shauna on your list?
Nope. Did you bring it? The reorchestrated one?
Yeah, it's on my short list. But, let me see. That was in our Rivals episode, right?
Yep, Rivals 2.
I have another slow and thoughtful piece of music.
Together with Shauna was on my list. I think I removed it on the second listen through.
Yeah, I have another one I'm going to go with instead, because this other one is just, oh, it's so good. And there's actually another track from this series on my list. In the same episode, episode 3-2 Part 2, because we split up our RPG Battle Theme episode because we had so many. And that was back when we were doing 14 tracks per episode.
Wow.
But that's where we played Fatalize. We also played the battle theme from Grandia 2, composed by Noriyuki Iwadare. But back on bonus episode 5, which we recorded around Valentine's Day with Dusk, we played another track from the Grandia series. This one was from Grandia 1. This was also composed by Noriyuki Iwadare. And sometimes it's called the Love Theme, but the official name of the track is The Sandy Beach of Gumbo. That was The Sandy Beach of Gumbo from Grandia, composed by another just master that we, for some reason, didn't do a focus on, Noriyuki Iwadare. We definitely have to come back to Iwadare-san sometime. Shootkapow, words about that track.
Yes. Man, that was a beautiful piece of music.
And so simple, like it's just piano and violin, but man, how evocative. Like, and I let this one play longer than we did on the Love Themes episode. I went ahead and played the full length since we're letting the music breathe in this episode, but I'm so glad that I didn't bump that one. I came close a couple of times tonight, but there was some really, really great stuff we played this year, but this is a contender for track of the year for me. I could listen to this for so long. Like, I could just put this on loop and have it in the background. I even think your mom would like this song. Like, it's just so damn pretty. Like, it's so good. Hey, your ball is evolving.
No, the ball hatched.
Oh, the ball hatched?
Baby ball.
Aww.
Baby ball.
Are Voltorb eggs spherical or elliptical?
Elliptical.
Oh, that's weird.
Every egg in this game is elliptical. I think they added unique eggs in Go. I think that's the only game they did it in.
Huh. I don't really care that much. I was just making a joke. I care that you care about Pokemon, but I don't really care about Pokemon X. But I do care to know what your
second...
Yes, your number 2.
Number 2.
Your penultimate track.
On
this very best of 2021.
I don't know if I have a magic heart. Alright, so that actually is... That actually does relate to my next track, because next up I have Watery Graves from Plants vs. Zombies.
How does that... Oh, Magikarp. Got it, yeah.
That was Watery Graves from Plants vs. Zombies. I got Plants vs. Zombies on my phone too. I have it on the computer, but I feel like it's a slightly better mobile game than a like PC game. On mobile, it's slightly more, mobile-y. Like, there's there's like one microtransaction, and some of the mini games are locked behind like a lot of coins. But that's pretty much all.
I feel like with the controls, it would be easier to control a game like Plants vs. Zombies with your finger and a touchscreen than it is with a mouse.
I feel like it's better with a mouse. Like, it's alright with a touchscreen, but I've ended up misplacing like a few plants.
Oh yeah, I guess accuracy would be better, but I feel like you could be faster with your finger in most cases.
I'm pretty fast with the mouse. I've been playing Minecraft for like 5-6 years at this point.
Yeah. So but you still think it's better on mobile than on PC?
Yeah, because Plants vs. Zombies isn't really a game that you want to sit down and play. It's just like, oh, I'm just sort of bored right now. I'm going to take out my phone and play a couple levels of Plants vs. Zombies.
Yeah. It's funny, because you and Dusk used to dunk on mobile games a little bit, but...
The classics, Plants vs. Zombies, Angry Birds, Cut the Rope, Geometry Dash, stuff like that, those are good mobile games. Nowadays, a lot of mobile games are just like kind of cash grabby. Also, this Weedle looks like it's made of gold, and it's weird. Kakuna. It's Kakuna.
That's not a Weedle. Come on. You named it Weedle.
It's a Weedle inside of a case. Actually, that's before Gen 5. Pokemon names were actually in all caps.
Well, we don't have a lot of time to get sidetracked because this is going to be our long break, because it's time to list our honorable mentions, because that was your number 2 track, which means we're fast approaching number 1. And my number 1, I think I finally narrowed it down just because it's got kind of a different feel than a lot of what we've played. It's really, really fun. I love it. It's based on one of my favorite characters, but we'll get to it in just a minute. Let's just go ahead and go down in order. We each played, I think, 1 track from the other's list, because I played Studiopolis, and you played Mechanical Rhythm.
Yeah.
So you should have 9 other tracks that did not get played. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, so do I. So why don't we go in order? I started the regular list, so you can start the honorable mention list. List your first of the other tracks, and then I'll list mine, and we'll go back and forth.
Alright, so mine is Colony 9 Day from Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition.
Alright, mine is Inferno from Season 2 of Killer Instinct.
Oh, that one was great.
Oh, that was so close to being my last one.
Yeah. My next one is Megalomania from Live Alive.
That one was really close to being on my list as well. You had 2 Yoko tracks that almost made it. Yep. My next one is Fight from Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning by Grant Kirkhope.
Sure it's not Reckoning? Reckoning 2, the Reckoning. Yeah. That's never going to get old. My next one was Outset Island from Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker.
When did we play that?
I'm not sure, but I feel like it was early Season 3.
It must have been, but man, I don't know. It's a really good track, though. Yeah. Okay, my next one is Together with Shauna, reorchestrated from Pokemon X and Y.
Awesome.
Hi, Dusk.
Hi.
We're listing our honorable mentions for the year.
Am I an honorable mentions?
You're an honorable mention.
Do you have a favorite track that you remember us playing this year?
I liked,
You know what? Hold that thought, and when we finish our honorable mentions, we'll play your track.
Oh, yay, cool.
Okay. Alright, what's your next one, Shootkapow?
My next one was A Cyber's World from Deltarune Chapter 2.
Ooh, very good stuff, very good stuff. My next one is actually not from a game, but it might be someday. It's One Shot Jones from Volts Supreme's Western Music remix. Volts was featured in our Patreon episode during our Composer Focus season. Skeletor joined me on that one. It's a really cool tune. And before I forget to mention, we will have a playlist both of this episode's tracks and also of the 18 honorable mention tracks. So, alright, what's your next one, Shootkapow?
My next one was Red Wings from Final Fantasy IV, which I really wanted to bring but didn't have enough room for.
Really good stuff. It wasn't in my top 20, but Sid's theme from Final Fantasy VII was on my list, and Terra's theme from Final Fantasy VI.
I have Hasted, Love Theme, Red Wings, and Boss Battle.
Really, really good stuff. My next one is High Score from the unreleased Green Lantern game for the SNES. Really chill and synthy stuff. That one came really close to being played. Yours?
Fantasy Meadows from Kirby Air Ride, which I'm really glad that we didn't play because now I can play it on Five Finger Fanfare 2.
Oh, man. All right. That's also very, very good stuff. Okay, my next one is Clock Tower Stage, featured in the Carlos vs. Daryl Marvel vs. Capcom two-parter. This was from Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Alright, I am now the proud owner of a bee drill.
Ooh, B-Drill. What's your next honorable mention?
Mind of a Thief from Mother 3. Shout out to RJ. You better be listening to this, loser.
I came really close to having Adolescence on my list for Mother 3. That was a really great episode. Props to Shogo Sakai. My next one, though, is also really close to being played. If I hadn't played Driver's Delight, I would have played the one called From Beyond from Persona Q, Shadow of the Labyrinth by Yuzo Koshiro.
Yeah, my next one is another Shogo Sakai, Piggy Enemy from Kirby Mass Attack.
That's all, folks. Porky Piggy Enemy.
Yeah.
My next one, as I mentioned a second ago, was the battle theme from Grandia 2 by Noriyuki Iwadare. Really, really jazzy battle theme. It's good stuff. Right? Your last runner-up, or honorable mention?
Yep, it's Gobi's Valley from Banjo-Kazooie. I really wish that I could have played some Kirkhope stuff on this.
Yeah, me too. Both of us had a Kirkhope thing on our short list. But okay, my final honorable mention is Time's Scar from Chrono Cross.
Yeah.
So good. Very, very good stuff. You played a Mitsuda song, so I got to bump it and play something else. All right, Dusk. What track do you want us to play from the podcast this year?
You should play It's Writing Somewhere Else from Undertale.
All right.
Did we play that this year?
Yes.
Let's take a look and let's get into it.
Was it on the Toby Fox one?
I don't remember, but I know we played it.
Okay, so Dusk, we actually played It's Raining Somewhere Else last year on the Toby Fox episode.
Yeah.
So that could be our honorable mention from last year. What do you want to play from this year?
The World Revolving from Deltarune.
All right, featured in episode 4-5, which you joined us for. All right, our second Deltarune track for the evening. Let's listen to The World Revolving. That was World Revolving from Deltarune, chosen by Dusk for our end of year episode. And now, without further adu, we will jump into my last track of the night. Once again, my tracks were in no particular order, but this one is one of just my favorite. I believe that Carlos brought this one in the first round of our Marvel vs. Capcom battle. This is Gambit's theme from X-Men vs. Street Fighter. That was Gambit's theme from X-Men vs. Street Fighter. And Carlos brought that. That was his first round pick from part 1 of Marvel vs. Capcom, our 2-part showdown episode, featuring Carlos, one of our patrons, and the host of Heroes 3, Adventures in Asian Cinema, along with his co-hosts, Marty and Matthew. And also featuring Daryl Bowers, commissioner of the VGM Fight Club, also known as The Last Rican.
Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver aficionado.
Yes. Yeah, you said earlier while we were off the record that you'll have to admit to him that Heart Gold and Soul Silver are actually pretty fun games.
Yeah.
But man, this track is a pretty fun track too. Really good stuff. I'm glad I got to end my list on just a really high upbeat notes. This is just a really cool track, which totally fits the character of Gambit.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, Shootkapow, it is that time. What is your number 1 pick from the podcast for 2021?
Man, all right. Our, I think, final track of the evening, right?
Except for our play out, which I'll reveal in just a minute.
Yeah. So, I am going to be playing from Bug Fables.
I wondered if you'd be bringing something.
Make your prediction now. What's it going to be?
It's going to be Spooter's theme.
Nope, it's Mothava's Grandstand.
We've got to talk about that when we come back.
Man, such a good track. Alright, that was Mothava's Grandstand from Bug Fables.
Really great track. Was not featured in our Tristan Ulrich episode. This is actually the first thing we ever played from this game, and it was recommended to us by listener Patchpen, way back on the Rivals, Rogues, and Frenemies Part 2 episode.
Yeah.
So, very cool. Good stuff.
This was before I'd even played Bug Fables. So, yeah.
Yeah, talk a little about why you picked this one.
I pretty recently, got to this part in the game where, like, you are, spoiler alert real quick, you're in the Termite City, and you gotta get this boat to get to this place called Rubber Prison, where, not sure what you do there, but like the Wasp King is trying to get there and do some really bad stuff. Like he's trying to get the Everlasting Sapling, which is, in the title of the game and makes you like a god or something. So yeah, it's sort of. Nah, I'll leave that for later. But yeah, so you got to prove to the termites that you're worthy, so you can get the submarine and go to Rubber Prison. And it's because the termites don't like the ants very much, because ever since Queen Elisabeth II, ever since she became queen, she was like worse at negotiating than her mom, so they lost their alliance with the termites. So the termites don't like the ants very much, and they got to get the submarine to go to Rubber Prison, so they got to prove their worthiness in this big Coliseum, like, battle thing. I forgot the word. Like,
okay.
Yeah. A tournament. So, yeah, that's where you fight Mothava, and that's where this plays.
So, why this track over the other Bug Fables tracks?
It's just so good, and in the moment, it's such like a big, grand, emotional track. It's called Mothava's Grandstand for a reason, because like she's been the #2 explorer to Team Snakemouth pretty much this entire game. Team Snakemouth is the Kabu V and Leaf.
Your player character's team.
Yeah. So she's been like in your shadow the whole game, and she's finally deciding to, make a grand stand and sort of like, try and like be better than you.
Yeah. I've heard that she has like a wasp sidekick who's a pretty cool character.
Yeah, his name's Zosp. He's kind of like, he's like black and red, I think.
I got the notion that he was like a brooding anti-hero type.
Yeah, sort of.
Gotcha.
He doesn't have a gun, though.
Well, this was a fitting, I think, final track for the episode. And man, what good music. Like, this was all... Honestly, it was very good music, and hopefully, listeners, you have all enjoyed this. I'm going to forego all the usual stuff, how to find us and everything. If you're listening to this, chances are you've listened to these episodes already, so if not, go back and check them out. Don't forget to check out the playlist if you would like to revisit these tunes, and definitely check out the runner-up playlist, because honestly, I'm looking at this list now, and there's some stuff that maybe should have been on this episode.
Of course, we've already plugged a lot of stuff.
We already have. We talked about the Patreon, we talked about your thing.
One thing I will say is follow me on Twitter, because I am at Twitter at Shootkapow, because I'm posting updates about my YouTube channel and stuff. So if you follow, you can know when to subscribe when the channel started up.
Yeah, be on the lookout for that, hopefully sometime in January. And you can also find us on Twitter at VGMPod. That's where I post. And hopefully, pretty soon, after we get 8 more subscribers on YouTube, you can find us at YouTube/VGMVGM. Otherwise, for now, you still have to search Very Good Music VGM or Very Good Music Podcast, and you'll find us. But thank you all so much for listening. We hope that you all have a great 2022. Can't be much worse than the last couple of years have been, but you know what? Let's just see what happens. But regardless, we'll all be in this together. So, Shootkapow, I'm looking forward to another great year of the podcast with you. All right, well, our playout track is also just going to lead right into the blooper reel, and I had to play this. It's kind of cheating, but this is one of my favorite VGM tracks of all time. It's one of the earliest tracks we played this year. We actually played this on part 1 of our two-parter with Skeletroy, episode 2-12, Mega Man X versus Mega Man X3. And this track, I think, is a great send-off for the year. Really upbeat, really hopeful, and just a really fun, chill little track. As we play out, you're going to be listening to the Password theme from Mega Man X.
Oh man. Alright.
Well, we're going to be taking a bit of a break in January. We may have one bonus episode drop, but until then, I guess all that's left to say is New Year's resolutions.
Play very good games, be very good people, and keep listening to very good music. Those are my New Year's resolutions.
You know what? I think those are so good. Let's just let's say them together like we usually do.
One of my New Year's resolutions is to be very good people.
I think that's a good idea.
Multiple very good people.
Let's start a new thing. You say the first part. Until next time,
play very good games,
be very good people,
and keep listening to
very good music.
So basically, Cradilly is in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Not Emerald. In Ruby and Sapphire, the champion Steven has a Cradilly, and it's really annoying. Its moveset.
Let me see this thing.
Yeah, let me.
Whoa! I remember what that looked like. Yeah, it's in new Pokemon Snap. It's in one of the underwater areas.
Yeah.
That would be enough for me to not like it.
Yeah, Elite Four, Omega Ruby. That's Omega Ruby now. Wrong game. But yeah. Steven Stone has Cradilly. It's a grass rock type, which I think gives it quite a few resistances. You're not good this part. So yeah, in this ingrained there, Steven Cradilly International. Okay, I think it has its moveset in Ruby and Sapphire is Ancient Power, which has a 10% chance to boost all of the user's stats, or like 50% for this Cradilly. Confuse Ray, which is a 100% accurate move that causes confusion, which is a 1-3 chance for your Pokemon to lose its turn and do damage to itself instead. Sludge Bomb, which is just a strong poison move, and Giga Drain, which is a strong grass move that heals the user.
That sounds OP.
Yeah, and to make it even worse, Cradilly is a super bulky Pokemon. Its highest stat is with HP, I'm pretty sure. And it has high defense and special defense. Pretty higher special defense, I think, but this one has a minus special defense nature.
but is it worse than the infamous Miltank?
Probably just because it has, like, I feel like it's more annoying. Whitney's Miltank is probably a little stronger offensively, but this Cradilly, seeing how it's one of the champions Pokemon, and this champion is, like, really powerful as it is, yeah, it's just... I don't like Cradilly. But well, anyway...
As much as this kind of content is really good practice for you and your impending YouTube channel, I don't want to talk about Nightmares anymore because we're celebrating. It's New Year's Eve!
Yeah.